Buff Nation, what is going on? Hope you guys are having a great day. We're here back with the Buff Blitz, just at an earlier time than our weekly 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. Mountain.
Yep.
But hope you guys are having a great day. Russ, thanks again for doing this with me every Wednesday. Really appreciate it. And I just got to say, man, I know we'll get to KSU talking a little bit about that before we get to all the fun stuff, but I got to say, man, I am so excited for this Arizona game outside of Nebraska, man. I've had this game circled on the calendar all year. This game means a lot to me, and I'm very much looking forward to it. But how are you doing today, Russ? How's your week been going?
It's been a good week so far. Weather's cooling down finally. It feels like fall. I'm excited for some more football. I'm excited for us to get back on the field after last weekend. While it was disappointing, the loss overall, I think there's a lot to take away from it. So I'm not too down on the team like some people. Of course, people crashing out after the game, the usual 15-20 sub drop on YouTube and all those things, but I had a good Sunday stream with everybody. We got the subs back up and doubled it. So I lost 20, I gained 40. So, I think people are a little bit smarter than that. But, what about you? How's your week been after, Saturday?
Well, man, it sucks that we still got to be doing these late night kickoffs. We got one, coming up against Cincinnati? Is that next week? Dude, I hate those late kickoffs, especially now being in Central Time. But it always sucks to stay up late and then watch a team lose. But man, we didn't play our best, but I thought that we battled, and it was great to see us take the lead. You just wish we could have held on. A lot of coulda, shoulda, woulda things that we could have corrected, but I was really proud of the team for kind of battling back, and we saw a lot of great performances for guys that needed to kind of step up due to injury. So I think that while Shedeur Sanders said it great, he's like, man, we don't care about moral victories. It's all about winning. Yes. I think that there were some things still that you can take into that game and hopefully build upon that because we need a rebound this week in a super important game against Arizona. I'm curious, though, before we get diving into the game, Russ, I know that we were kind of texting a little bit back and forth last night. You sent me that little clip from Well Off with Pat Shurmur. I would love to just talk about that a little bit because, of course, you don't see those clips all the time, and that was really interesting. So I want to hear your opinion on that whole little clip, and if people haven't seen it, if you could kind of explain what you saw.
Yeah, so Coach Prime went around the room and asked different positions what they need to do better this week as they prepare. And he also asked the coaches, and he asked Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur's sitting down in his little corner with the quarterbacks, and he just says, like, we need to get out of our own damn way and run the damn ball. And then it cut, and all of a sudden now he's in front. So I think Coach Prime called him up to the front and said, hey, you need to talk to everybody about this. And he went into detail about every little thing that's going wrong, that, we need to be focusing on the run game. Our blockers need to do a better job. Our quarterbacks need to do a better job of making the right decisions. Our wide receivers need to hold their blocks. He was just calling out everybody when it came, on that video. And so, having gone back and watched, because it's very easy to watch the running plays from last weekend, considering there were 7 of them, right? 7, 9. What do we end up with?
I thought it was 10 total.
Was it 10
but
total?
I can't remember if that included Shedeur or not. Can't remember.
It might have included Shedeur. Yeah. So I guess I could say just Dallin's carries, in that first quarter before 10. Kevin Popham had it right away.
You, Kevin.
So you go back, just watch those 10. I know when I first watched the game, and again, I will, I said on Sunday, I'd go back and watch the all 22 and make sure, but I said on Sunday, I was like, I felt like maybe we missed some holes or whatnot. No, going back and watching the all 22, there weren't no holes. The blocking was not great. I will say that. Dallin did his best. There were a couple times he made the right play with what was available, but there was not much available. And that is why he only gained a yard or two on all his carries. He at least, gained those 2 yards, but overall, like, you got to say, like, one, we can't go away from it. I get it. We weren't getting negative yards in the run, but we weren't getting positive runs. And I don't know how you get better as the game goes on if you're not going to run it. Like, I get it. The blocking wasn't great. It needs to get better. Hopefully we don't go back to that again. I guarantee we won't. I mean, I feel like this is like Nebraska all over again. Team's going to learn a lesson from this. They're going to learn more from the loss, and we're going to make sure we never go back to that again. So that's my hope. What about you? What did you see, when you went back and looked at different things, like, as far as what Pat Shurmur said and what you think we might be doing going forward?
Yeah, I think that I guess I'll echo a lot of your sentiments in terms of that. I just think we got away from like what has won us football games, on this winning streak. And so I think that that's going to be something that the whole team is going to be motivated to get back this weekend against Arizona, having more of that balance. And again, we've talked about this beforehand as well, the stat about you can just give our running backs 14 carries. That's been a nice number for us. Let me know if I'm lagging, Russ. I saw myself freeze. So
I think you did for just a second there.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully that gets figured out. But I just want to see them establish somewhat of a running game. I think we have a much better opportunity this week to do that against Arizona. They're averaging, I think, close to double giving up on the ground what KSU was when we came into that matchup last week. And I love the idea about maybe I don't care who starts. I don't care who gets the majority of the carries out of the backfield. I just want CU to be loyal to finding the hot hand for that game. To me, it doesn't matter if it's Dallin Hayden, Isaiah Gustive, Michael Welsh, whoever. Just find that hot hand, and don't be afraid to, after a couple drives, try somebody else out if something's not working. So it seems like Isaiah might be the guy to get that first crack this week, which I think is going to be exciting. He's I think leading our team right now in yards per carry, so that will be cool. But at the end of the day, I don't care about the name on the jersey, who's getting the carries. I just want us to be loyal to finding the right rhythm. Whoever has got it for that game or that quarter, let's find that guy.
Yeah, and I want to see, I don't know what's going on with the offensive line this week. Like, it didn't look good. We weren't sealing our blocks. We were letting people get on the inside of us too much when we were looking to seal a block. Didn't allow us to get to the second level. There was a lot of things on the line. I'm assuming they'll be watching a lot of tape. I'm assuming Phil Lodeholt will be calling them out on all of that throughout the week of what they need to get done. I feel bad for Dallin Hayden because I think he got kind of a rough thing. I did like what Shurmur did say as well to the running backs. His comment to them in that video was, hey, try and kick it out. Commit to kicking it out if you have to and see what you can get out of it, okay? Don't just run into the line in front of you when there's no hole. See if we can even go wide. Like, that's fine. We'll figure it out. Like, if we lose a couple yards, we'll get it back. Like, this is the one team, like, what's weird is when we lose yards, either by, a sack from Shedeur, a penalty, I don't panic because we can pick up 20, 30 yards easy. I mean, easy if we call the right routes, and we do some underneath stuff. We have the playmakers to do that. And so I think I'd like to see that as well. We have not seen, except maybe Michael Welsh when he had his really long run of the season where he kicked it to the outside. We have not seen a lot of runs to the outside. It's mostly down the middle. I know a lot of people complain about that. So maybe that's a solution that we see, more of this weekend. But yeah, the blocking needs to pick up a little bit better, and we just can't get away from the run because I don't think that's fair to anybody if we get away from it, because now you can't get in a rhythm. You can't you can't figure it out. You can't fix your problems mid-game. Like, it's almost like, oh, it's not working. Abandon it. We're going to just go all pass. I mean, we can do it. We'll just go all pass. It'll be fine. And yeah, we almost won the game doing that, which, good or bad, I don't know for real. It sounds like it's good because the team is, making comments about it.
Yeah.
And they understand what they need to do. But my big question for you, obviously getting a lot of talk in the media and with the fan base and all of that. What are your thoughts on the defense, and more specifically, because it's already in the comments, Shedeur Sanders game against K-State?
Well, I think just defensively, man, we just didn't play our best, man. A lot of broken tackles, a lot of yards after contact. Like, that's what it was like for the whole unit. That's kind of how I felt. And I'm expecting a bounce back performance. We've seen so many games now so far this season where they've been able to wrap up and be really good open field tacklers. That game last weekend, it kind of reminded me of a lot of the defensive performances we saw last year, just not being able to wrap up. We've been so much better of a tackling team this season. So I kind of chalk it up to that. Of course, Shiloh was rusty. I mean, he talked about it in his press conference yesterday. He said, I played the worst game of my life or of my career. And I think it's very true. When you're free safety, when you're the last line of defense, if you're taking a bad angle or whatever, everybody's going to see it. Everybody's going to see your mistakes because you're the last line of defense. So, but yeah, like I'm not one of these people that thinks Shiloh's a terrible safety or he's like a net negative on this team. I think we're a better football team with him in the game. Now, I'm not saying that he's a perfect player. I think it would have been nice to see Carter in there a little bit more once, kind of similar to the running back. You just need a different change of pace. You need to change the energy if something's not working. Maybe it's not even necessarily personal to him all the time, but it's like we just need to get as a unit, we need to make sure that we're tackling. We got a different energy. That's kind of how I wish that we would approach the running game too, a little bit. Just not being afraid to try something new after a quarter if you're having something go wrong. So I didn't think like there wasn't anything like super concerning to me coming out of that game. I just didn't think that we executed well.
Yeah. I mean, I went back, watched the best part of our defense was our defensive line. Now people are going to be like, whoa. What does that mean? Like, the running game did so well. Well, the defensive line did what they needed to do. The linebackers didn't do what they have been doing. And then you go look at the PFF grades. Yikes. I mean, Nikai Hill-Green goes from a 90 to a 40, in one game. That is not good. I think that's where it kind of started. And then obviously, like you said, then the safeties also weren't good when it came to that. And I don't know if it was a game plan because they were like, Kansas State running backs will fumble the ball because Giddens has fumbled the ball. So let's do the torpedo tackle where we don't wrap up, but we try and go head on ball and get a fumble. And it looked like
they were
Giddens
really trying to strip it rather than take them down
every time. And Giddens, it was like he knew that was coming. Because the whole game, he is two hands on the ball anytime anybody got near him. Like, he had such a tight grip on that ball. Like, there'd be three people trying to rip it out, and he would just be holding on to it so tightly. So I think, I think that's just it's just insane to me, But what sucks is we wasted a great game from BJ Green. I mean, we wasted a great game from that defensive line because let's be honest, K-State going into that game had only allowed 4 sacks all season.
Wow.
And we got 4 sacks in that game. We doubled their sack total.
Beautiful.
And we finally had a defensive, I felt like, hey, we also we contained Avery Johnson. His longest run was 10 yards. He did nothing.
Why are all these guys throwing dimes against us in crunch time? Baylor quarterback, KSU quarterback.
I will say this, though, Dave. If we go back and we look at every game, though, there's been at least times where they've had wide open guys and they've missed them. Yeah. So, that's where it's like, okay, these quarterbacks aren't the best. if Shedeur was given some of the routes and stuff that they had where they had wide open guys, like I remember Dylan Edwards was wide open on a wheel route on Saturday and Avery Johnson overthrew him. There was that. The UCF game, there was another one. The Nebraska game, Raiola had that wide open guy on the wheel route that he dropped. Like every game, the quarterbacks, because we live and die by the man defense, and there are going to be breakdowns, but the quarterbacks have to be good and good enough. The problem is, in crunch time, they have to throw a great ball, and they have. I mean, I will say this.
They go Brady mode, dude. What the heck?
Whatever it is, I will say Avery Johnson's winning touchdown pass, I think that was one of the less impressive ones that we've seen at the end of a game because he underthrew it a little bit. That got Preston Hodge back in to almost tip the ball. So, it wasn't perfect. But again, if we go back to that last drive, like, what are we doing? Like, they have to score a touchdown. They have to go 80 yards? They came out of the end zone with the ball on a return and only got to the 10-yard line. No, 90 yards. They had to go 90 yards for a touchdown. And we ran just straight cover 2 man, like the whole drive. That's probably my biggest takeaway from the game, David. I just don't know what to think about that last drive. Like we had that game won.
I know.
And that's what frustrates me the most.
I know, man. I know. We just, again, there's a lot you can question. The personnel, the play calls, like all that. If Avery Johnson throws an incompletion, nobody's talking about it. Or if we get there on the blitz, Bentley was just a step and a half away. But forget it, dude. Let's move on. Are you okay moving on to this Arizona game? I want to get to this, man.
Yes. One last thing, because this is a good thing. Okay. Everybody in the chat, I want your comments on this. But if I told you before the game that in the first quarter we were losing Jimmy Horn and Travis Hunter and we lost by 3, what you would feel, I think there would be a lot of people feeling a little bit differently about this game. Not to do the whole moral victory thing and, all this stuff, but to be that close and what should have been a win without those people, that shows a lot of resilience.
Yes.
I'm proud of the team in that sense, and that is a different take than our team last year.
Yes.
Had that happened to us last year, we probably get killed in that game compared to what happened this weekend. So I'm excited for this weekend. I'm excited to get Travis back. I'm excited to get Jimmy back.
Yes.
I'm excited to see what they do. I hope we get the run game going, and I really like this matchup this weekend. I really like this matchup.
I love this matchup. And this game I put on my thumbnail. This game means everything, man. There's so much good stuff in taking a look at this matchup, what it means. I mean, we can start with the fact that Arizona fans, man, they back their team and they hate Colorado for the most part, and we hate them too. Like, I feel like there's a nice little rivalry developing between Arizona fans and Colorado fans, and I think that's always a ton of fun. I think that Arizona right now, they kind of, in my opinion, like last year, I would say like Colorado was just a shittier version of USC. I feel like they're like a shittier version of us in a lot of ways this year.
Yes, 100%.
And less consistent, all of that. But even though they're at 3-3 right now, they've lost, I think, 3 out of their 4 Power 4 matchups they've had. I feel like they play a very entertaining brand of football. So I feel like this game's going to be really fun to watch. Of course, you had people calling Noah Fifita the best quarterback in the Big 12 over the offseason, which right now that looks like that's a very bad take. We'll get into that here later. But, I want Shedeur to come out here, ball out, show him who's the top quarterback in the conference, right? And also a rematch between Tet McMillan and Travis Hunter, because although I thought Travis Hunter played well against Tet McMillan, again, only gave up like 3 catches, 15 yards, but One of those was that one-handed touchdown. Ted McMillan
Yep.
putting on a highlight reel play. He's going to be thinking about that all week and wanting to come out there and just shut him down. So I think that there's a lot of great things to look for and watch for in this game. And I believe we're their homecoming game, and we got to take that personally, man. We got to take that personally.
I think the team will do enough. I don't even think they need that extra stuff this week. I mean, coming off that loss, if I'm Arizona, I'm mad that they didn't win because now they're coming off a loss. Yeah. We are pissed off. We are not going to overlook this game. We are going to come out and give them our best game. I already know that, especially, like I said, coming off of that loss and what we're able to do. And I think Travis has this game circled for sure because he knows what people said. He knows what people have been saying this year. What is the one thing that everybody keeps throwing out there when it comes to his cornerback play? Oh, Travis hasn't played anyone elite. He hasn't had to cover any elite receivers yet. Okay, you're about to cover one of these supposed top 2 wide receivers in the country. If he shuts him down, that better shut up a lot of people. And I think that Travis does. He has this circle because guess what else? Travis is going to be targeted finally. Yeah. Travis is going to be targeted finally. He's finally going to get a chance to show his one-on-one ability for NFL scouts and the world and the Heisman committee. So I think we're going to see probably one of Travis's best defensive performances this Saturday when it comes to Arizona and having that one-on-one matchup with T-Mac.
Yeah. And I think this game, again, it has huge Heisman implications for Travis. No doubt about it. You come out and you just play your game against Arizona. You shut down Ted McMillan. You score a touchdown, something like that. You know what Travis Hunter is always doing. He's always making some sort of highlight every game that he's playing. And I think that getting a win in this situation, in the fashion in which he plays, I think it would not surprise me at all to see him go from, I think right now he's the second most likely in terms of Vegas betting odds to win the Heisman. Maybe after this weekend, if all goes well, he goes to first, which I think could be, crucial. It's very important, not just winning games, but also Travis Hunter getting that Heisman, man. It is so important. I need to see it happen. It's why I got the Travis Hunter jersey on today. Is just this means a lot for him as well as the team. But Russ, I have done my homework for this Arizona matchup. Okay. Is it cool if I show you some stats and stuff that I found are kind of interesting?
Let's go.
Going full stat mode. So if you go back to last year when Arizona came into Boulder, of course we lost there at the last minute, essentially, as time expired. But that was one of our better defensive performances last year, where we were kind of able to contain them, and we were able to contain Noah Fifita to season lows last year, which was really interesting. So 21 of 35. It was 60% completion last year, which was like a season low for him after taking over the job. 214 yards season low, and 6.1 yards per attempt season low last year. And, we barely lost this game. So I think that for the guys who are still on this team from last year's defense, I think that they should be confident going into this game, because I thought that they played him very, very well, being Noah Fifita. And again, like he killed it last year. I think he had like over 30 touchdowns, 6 picks on the season. We've seen with, man, what was the name of his coach? Jed Fish. With Jed Fish going to Washington, you've just kind of seen Arizona kind of have more of a down year this year. And again, right now he has more interceptions than he does touchdowns on the year. 8 picks to 9 interceptions. And what I think is kind of surprising, just being on the outside looking in with this Arizona offense against their Power 4 opponents they've had. KSU lost 31-7. Utah won 21-10. Texas Tech lost 28-22, and then last weekend lost 41-19, is that
Yikes.
he has a touchdown to interception ratio of 3 touchdowns to 7 interceptions against Power 4 opponents this year, with a completion percentage of 57%. He just hasn't been good. He hasn't been consistent. Still plays a very exciting brand of football, because him and Tet, they have a very special chemistry, especially them. But this is a quarterback that our defense should have success against. Not only can we pull from what we did well last year, we got that on film, but also, we got a much better defense. I think they've allowed 4 sacks so far, Russ, and I love how you brought that up with Kansas State, how we were able to just have them double their total last week. So the protection is going to be something interesting to watch, to see who wins that battle. But it's kind of surprising to me to see Noah Fifita still throwing these amounts of interceptions, with the protection being pretty good so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, those are all great points with it. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of the Arizona games, if I'm being honest. It's one of the few Big 12 teams that I have not paid attention to that much. Just seeing Noah Fifita's stats compared to last year is, I don't know what's going on over there. If it's the coaching change, the scheme, whatever they're doing there, but he is not putting up good numbers whatsoever. And this was kind of the quarterback that they thought they were getting when he was coming in. Obviously, last year looked like, oh my gosh, we found the guy, flash, unbelievable quarterback, and he has regressed so much. And like you said at the top of the show, I feel like they're a poorer version of us. And when you look at the team stats comparatively, we both have issues with the same thing, but at a different level. So like you look at, for instance, the passing defense for Arizona, they have ratings that are much higher than us. Like you're looking about like 30 to 40 team worse than us in a lot of those plays. Same with, rushing defense, about average. They're not any better. Yards per rush, they're ranked 100th. We're ranked 61. So like there's pretty big gaps, but where we're kind of like not so great, they're not so great as well. What I like about this game is the defensive line is going to be able to rush they're going to be able to focus on rushing the passer rather than focusing on stopping the run, like they have been every game, it seems.
Yeah. They aired out, man, over the last 4 games, again, since their Power 4 schedule started. They're averaging 43.5 passing attempts.
Finally, we get a team that throws it more than 20 times a game.
Right. This is interesting that you're bringing this up, because I think that they have been playing in a lot of deficits as well, which, again, that makes sense why you see more passing attempts. But I feel like that there's a lot of correlation with their running back who came over with Brett Brennan from San Jose State, running back number 7, Quali Conley. He has he's been a very good running back for them, very dynamic. He has over 450 yards on the year, 6 touchdowns, 5.6 yards a carry. But yeah, in their losses, like to Kansas State, to BYU, was averaging 3.4 and 3 yards a carry on average. Against Utah, where they won, he was averaging 5.1 yards. Against Texas Tech, which that was a game that went down to the wire and they ended up losing it, he was averaging 6.9 yards a carry, had a touchdown. And so I think the game plan here is pretty simple, not anything earth shattering, but it's making sure you can make Arizona one dimensional, that they'll go to the pass, I think, because again, we don't want to have teams running all over us, stuff like that. But let's see how our pass rush does against their offensive line, and let's see how Fifita does against our secondary, who he has been to prone to turn over the ball throwing downfield. I think 7 of his 9 interceptions have come from past 10 yards down the field. So he's throwing intermediate, deep, and a lot of times it's in coverage or it's inaccurate, and it's been picked off.
I think our defense is licking their chops for sure, realizing that this is going to be the week that they're going to have the most opportunities to make big plays. Unlike prior weeks where it was more about just shutting them down and doing enough, getting off the field on third down, they're going to have opportunities to turn the ball over and get those big turnovers. I'm excited for them. I think this is a game that's going to play really well with our defensive backs. Again, our pass rush. I haven't heard anything on Dayon Hayes, if he's going to be back or not. We've heard nothing really on that.
No.
So I still love who we have. I mean, BJ's been great. Okunlola's been great.
Yeah.
Tajay McCoy has been unbelievable and great. So I'm excited to see what they're able to do. And I want them to bring a little pressure on Fifita, because if you know where he's going to go with the ball and you can, call up the right plays, you might have a chance to get to him a couple of those times, safety blitz, linebacker blitz, whatever that may look like. So, I mean, I'm excited to see what this defense does against the Arizona offense. But Dave, do you have any tidbits or info, though, on Arizona's defense? Because I honestly have no clue, because it doesn't look good on the scorecard. I mean, they've gotten blown out a number of games, so it tells me that they're allowing a lot of points.
Yeah, it's a vulnerable defense. I do think, though, that they're not as bad, I think, as maybe some people might think, because I think that they've been put in a lot of unfair situations and scenarios because of the amount of turnovers from the offense. So, I think statistically, when you kind of look at everything, they're kind of around the Big 12 average right now for the conference. And again, I think that this is a team where we can establish a run game. Again, the magic number, I feel like it's 20 design runs for our running backs. If we can do that, I think someone earlier in the comments said 23. I would be ecstatic with that number as well. Let's get our running back some carries. If we can just average, 4.5 yards a carry, we've averaged more in some of these games, which is great. But that everybody's going to eat. We know that right now. The team has experienced success when we do that. So I do feel a little bit better about running against this defense. And Jason Shear, who famously covers the Arizona Wildcats, always on Twitter. One of the more, I think, annoying beat reporters in the country. I like my beat reporters to just be like beat reporters, man.
Reporters,
but yeah, just be
not fans.
Yeah, not fans. But for all you guys that are wondering, or that might get on Brian or Adam Munster Tiger for just being more kind of towards that journalistic side of things, you might like Jason Shear if you're really kind of wanting some of those hot takes that you would like to see beat reporters do. He is entertaining nonetheless, but he talked about I think today he put out a tweet about how they're going to be missing, I think, 3 starters in their secondary. And he is very nervous in this matchup because he feels like CU is going to be able to really take advantage of the secondary because of that. And I'll tell you what, man, I feel much better about this matchup. The fact that Travis and Jimmy are suited to play. If they weren't playing, I feel like this would be a very, very close game because I think Travis makes a tremendous difference on both sides of the field, obviously. And but I feel better from an offensive standpoint because of they're going to have to be doing the next man up stuff in the secondary. And obviously I feel very good about that we got Travis Hunter to take on Tet McMillan. But what are your thoughts, man, with our offense? And I'll piggyback a question on top of that is, what do you do to stop Tet McMillan? Are you doing anything fancy? Or just let me know.
I mean, the smart play would be, but again, we're 6 games in right now, we haven't really changed our defense very much like we thought they would. So if I'm the smart play, I'm doubling, giving some help over the top on McMillan. Like, he is their sole focus offensively.
He's
and
amazing. He's kept him in some of these games himself.
Somebody else made the comment of like, if anything, I think part of the reason that Fifita has played so bad is he is just wanting to force feed the ball to McMillan. And so that I think is going to play a big part of it on the defensive side. Offensively, I'm like you said, I'm glad that we have Travis back. I'm honestly glad we have Travis back more for the defensive side. The offense, even if we didn't get Jimmy back, I still love this wide receiver room. When we said at the beginning of the season, when Buffs fans have been saying all year, Colorado has the best wide receiver room in the country, people would be throwing a hissy fit saying, oh, we got this guy, we got this guy. No, we mean that literally from the top receiver to the bottom final receiver in that room, who's never going to play it down this season, they're all potential starters at Division I football levels. Like, they are good receivers. We saw what happened. Like, we lose Travis, we lose Jimmy. Did we skip a beat? No. Omarion Miller stepped up and had 150 yards almost during that game. And unfortunately, probably a very gruesome tackle that, derailed his season, which I feel so sick about. But, like, that's what happens. And had Travis not gone, had Jimmy not been able to go, Jordan O is sitting there in the wings, super athletic. He has done some amazing things in practice, during spring camp, during fall camp. Like, that guy has shown up at times, and I don't think anybody on the team would have batted an eye if he played and showed up in big ways.
No.
So just next man up when it comes to the receivers. I like what we bring. I wouldn't push it too much with them. If I'm being honest, I would limit Travis maybe a little bit more on the offensive side if the injury is still bothering him. I think that should be the play this week. But I know that him getting the stats offensively is what's really going to shine as far as, Heisman votes. So I have no idea what way they go with that. But if we're being honest, I feel like Coach Prime is smart enough to make those decisions for him. I think that, if I'm being honest, Travis was planning to come back in the game last weekend. I mean, we saw him come in with the shoulder strap out of the locker room, suited up. I feel like he wanted to play, and I think that Coach Prime said no. I think he said, kid, you're not going to ruin the rest of your season over this game. You're sitting. We'll be fine. We'll figure it out. I mean, heck, even during the last drive when we were trying to win the game at the very, very end, I was waiting to see like Travis or Jimmy put on a helmet and run out there to like try and win that game just for that one series. Because I just
for the last drive on defense.
Yeah, on defense, even that would have helped. Like, maybe. But I think Coach Prime is obviously, looking out for their best interest long term. Yeah. Which I love as a coach. That is a smart play, because unfortunately we're fans. We want CU to win. We want CU to win everything. But these kids have a future that they want to have, and they need to make smart decisions based on that future. Because this is only a couple years of their life, and then the rest of their life they have to be able to play the game they love and make the money they need to live. So I'm fine with that. I'm excited to see what they do. I want to see the running game go a little bit more. And I think I'm going to call it early. I'm not going to call my player of the game, but I think the breakout person offensively, I think it's not a really that big of a call out. I think LeJontay Wester is going to be the difference maker this Saturday. I do. He has, if you watch the all 22 of every single game, that dude is open 24/7. Yeah. Like, he is open everywhere on the field. He is probably our most dynamic route runner. He is our shiftiest route runner outside of maybe Travis too, with their ability and athleticism. So LeJontay is probably going to have a big game against, especially if Arizona's missing 3 of their starting defensive backs. Like, Shedeur is about to feast, guys. The question is, can our defense do enough to just slow down Arizona? Because if I'm going to say it, I'm thinking the offense may get into the 40s for points this week. I mean, look at what the other teams have done against Arizona.
Yeah.
Like Kansas State, look what they did against Arizona. And we just saw their offense. I mean, their offense is not, when it's a run first offense, you should not be blowing teams out by that much, right? Like it should be a 21-3, 21-7 type game, you know, or 17, whatever it is. But when you're putting up much more points, like that just tells you where that defense is, plus all the injuries they're having. Our offense is about to feast. And I think Shedeur knows. I think he knows what's about to happen. Obviously, we'll get the run game involved because if you're in the lead, they'll run it more anyway. But I think they're going to definitely pad on the stats this Saturday offensively. I want to remind people, I said that last week was going to be a blowout, but I said it would be a blowout if we stopped the run. I said that. I said, if we stop the run, it's a blowout.
It's
we
okay,
didn't
Russ.
stop the run.
You don't need to defend yourself. You don't need to defend yourself, man. It would have been a blowout if they stopped the run, man. It would have. I'm with you on that, man.
200, almost 200 yards to Giddens is just embarrassing. It's
dude.
embarrassing.
You looked like, Adrian Peterson out there. Just
Oh God, yes, yes. It was Adrian Peterson, Darren McFadden. Any of those like shifty running backs that had amazing college careers. He just had one of the best days of his life.
Oh man, he was killing it, man. But I think I'll go my player, of course, obviously Travis Hunter, but maybe this is a bold prediction. I think that Shedeur will have his best game of the season so far this year against Arizona.
Yep.
Because again, like it was crazy to see that he set like 3 different CU records in that game last weekend, and I thought that, that was one of his weaker performances in some aspects last game. Just shows the greatness that he has, to still put the team in position and all that to win, to have those records. And I really do think that you're going to see Shedeur come back and have a really strong game this game after a really tough defeat last weekend. And this is against a team again that I feel like I think he should take it personally with how Arizona fans have talked about our team, with how they've talked about Fifita, with how the media has talked about Fifita, leading up to this season, with how, that was a game that we let get away from us last year in a game in which everybody thought that Arizona was just going to come in there and kick our butt. And we played really well, but it's kind of similar to that Kansas State game, man. It's like, we battled, but we just didn't do enough things right to get the win. And I don't know, man. The fact that we saw this team go to UCF and put that performance on the road, it definitely does give me confidence that they can go into Tucson and do the same thing and have a very nice, strong offensive showing. So he's my player that I'm really looking forward to seeing show out this weekend. No doubt about it.
That is going to be, it's going to be an exciting game offensively for sure. I like Timothy, Mr. Fitzgerald from K-State fans. K-State scored 31 against both Arizona and CU, but my point was, how many points did K-State allow in both games? They shut Arizona's offense down. We, on the other hand, scored a lot of points against Kansas State. So I have faith that we are going to be able to put up a good chunk of offense on K-State. I also think our defense is much more better suited to defend Arizona. I think they went kind of against what Kansas State's defense would have wanted, which I think is why, those kind of things happen. So, yeah, Shedeur Sanders, he is going to have I agree with you. I mean, I'm going to call it here. I don't even remember what let's just say it's going to be his best game of his CU career. Because I have no idea what he did against his Jackson State opponents, but I think it's going to be even better than his TCU game that he had last year.
Oh man, well, I love it, man. I love it. I mean, I think that this is going to be a game where both teams are scoring points. Like, I know that, Fifita's had a down year this year, but again, Tet McMillan, so some of y'all might be pissed off with me saying this, but it's the truth. He is their version of Travis Hunter on the offensive side. Like, that dude just makes an insane amount of plays. He's 6'5". He runs through people. He can go up and get all these contested catches. It kind of surprises me he hasn't had a touchdown since week 1. But he's somebody that I could see really keeping Arizona in this game. And if Arizona really looks to, if Travis Hunter isn't shadowing him on every play, sticking with him on every play, which is, again, different defensive coordinator from last year. He saw a handful of guys. So we'll see if Travis ends up covering him like 100% of the time or not. But I think if I'm Arizona, I really try and find a way to make sure you get him matched up against like Preston Hodge, who's like 6 feet, or just anybody else that's not Travis Hunter, trying to get that favorable matchup. So want to give a quick shout out again to Fitz for coming on my show last week. Congratulations to KSU. Very much looking forward to that game against West Virginia.
Yes.
That has a lot of big implications, and just a big fan of your work. Go follow, guys. Go follow. Go PowerCat. There was something else I was going to point out, Russ, that I was trying to think. Yes, it was this. Why I think this game is going to be so entertaining, regardless of the score and outcome. We talk about how Shedeur Sanders will hold on to the ball. He will always, try and find that big play downfield. He is willing to take hits in order to provide a game-breaking play or game-breaking throw. He's ultra aggressive. He will not give up on any play. Ultra competitive. Noah Fifita kind of has that similar brand of football. That man holds on to the football. He'll scramble around. He'll step up in the pocket. I actually think he's got pretty good pocket presence, but the throw this year hasn't always been the most accurate. But this man does not give up on any play, and that's what makes him, even if the stats aren't pretty, it really makes him a very exciting quarterback to watch. And that's what I'm really looking forward to. I really do feel like their play styles kind of mirror each other quite a bit, because he's somebody that is going to hold on, look for those plays to find Tet McMillan down the field. It's just going to be up to us to make sure that we make him pay for trying to take those shots and taking that extra time to do that.
Yeah, no, I 100%. Like I said, I think our D-line is ready to feast this week. I think this is the one week where they're like, I don't have to run defend for an entire game and hope to get a sack on third down only. Like, they're going to finally have a chance on first down to rush the passer all out, or second down. Like, there's no just passing down. I mean, they're going to have multiple opportunities, unlike that what they've had, in our pretty much all of our matchups so far this season. So I'm excited to see what they do. I mean, defensively, if we want to take somebody on the defensive side for who we expect to have good games, I'm going to call BJ Green out after his fantastic performance against K-State with 2 great, sacks. He is starting to come on. He is starting to come on right now as our best pass rusher, which is what all of us, or at least you and I, for sure, thought when we signed him. We were like, this is going to be the pass rusher on this team. Like, he is going to lead the way in sacks. And BJ Green is starting to take off. So I think he has he's the dominant performer on the defense this Saturday. That's really going to make a difference.
Always love mentioning BJ, always penetrating Green. I think for my player to look at on the defensive side of the ball is a bounce back game from arguably our best player on defense outside of maybe Travis Hunter, Nakai Hill-Green. Bounce back performance from that gentleman this weekend. VH is asking here about the running game that Arizona has. I mean, they have 2 really good running backs. Not only do they have Wally Corley, but they also have, let me make sure I get his name correct. It's number 3.
Kedrick Riscano.
Yeah. This is another big time
Riscano.
playmaker they got. So it's going to be really important that we shut these guys down. You know, Arizona, that they can run some motion. Sometimes they have these like jumbo pistol formations that are pretty fun to watch. You know, I guess we kind of saw a little bit of that with Kansas State. But I think that, again, none of this is rocket science. Usually when teams lose football games, the first thing that's brought up is we didn't run the ball well, regardless of who your team is. And so I think that we just got to make them one-dimensional, man. We got to put this Arizona offense in a situation to where they're going to be prone to, throw the ball into coverage and hopefully generate turnovers. So, he's my player to watch. And I'll say this too. Going back to the running game, when I was watching the condensed game of the BYU game against Arizona, BYU ran for about, I think, 150 yards on them. I'm a bit unsure of how like our running game is going to translate going against them. I know we'll have more success than what we had last week. We got to do better than -28, right? Like we have to. Yeah. But BYU, they're running a lot of like option and like pitch options. Their Retzlaff is running the ball too. It almost kind of reminds you of like a modernized triple option, kind of sometimes with how they're running the ball. It's a really, really fun brand of football too. Big 12 has a lot of fun offenses to watch. So that is one thing that can be hard to prepare for. We've seen with the Air Force teams in the past how they would just run all. It's a hard thing to practice against. I think BYU is kind of that situation as well.
Yeah, a little bit.
And so I don't see us having as much success that BYU had against Arizona against the run. But yeah, can we just get 20 carries for like 85 yards?
Yeah. Short yardage. Can we get short yardage at minimum? And by that, I mean, like, when it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, can we run the ball for a first down? When we get into the red zone, can we run the ball to get into the end zone to, keep the clock moving a little bit in that moment? I think that's what we did well against UCF when it was a much more, I guess you could say even game plan with passing and running. Yeah. It's not so much that we need to be gaining 150 to 200 yards a game. It's that we just need to have efficient, consistent running when we do run the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hope we see that more. I have a feeling we will. But again, my biggest reason for this game going to be ending up the way that it does is because of what happened last weekend. It is. I think there are a lot of players that are very upset with how they played. And I know some people have said this. I mean, who knows? Maybe this is a Shiloh redemption game. I know there's a lot of hate for him in the comments.
God, please. I wanted to shut everybody up so bad.
I know there's a lot of hate in the comments, but I have a feeling that he's going to take that to heart this week, and we might see some, different plays. Now, could that be good? Could that be bad? Because again, when he gets angry, he looks for, he plays a different way. I'm not sure yet, but I definitely think that there are going to be a bunch of bounce back players this weekend. And that's why I'm so high on Colorado this week. I love the matchup. I love that Arizona has struggled this year mightily with the team that they used to be last year. I love that we almost beat them with our team last year, and this team is 100%. Like, all of these things are just lining up to where I'll be upset if this is a close game, if I'm being honest. Like, something bad would have had to happen for this to be a close game. Like, if we're being honest with everything that we have going for us this game, something really bad happened for it to stay close. The Kansas State game, I would have been fine with a close victory. I would have been really excited. I think Kansas State was one of the hardest opponents we had left on the schedule. And so, from here on out, we need to show that we are one of the top teams in the conference, and we have a chance to show that week in and week out going forward. And again, I think Kansas State is still going to be the toughest opponent that we have faced I think it only gets easier from here. But can we bring the consistent play moving forward? Can we stay healthy? Can we do all the things that we need to do to fall in line to keep this team going? That's going to be the big question that start to be answered this weekend against Arizona, where we should come away victorious.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll point this out. I led the show with that Noah Fifita statistically had his worst performance against us last year of his 2023 season. That also had to do with the fact that, man, we could not stop the run against them last year. They ran for over 200 yards collectively against us. I don't see that happening this year with the defense that we have. And again, I don't think we need an earth-shattering performance from the run defense, but just to make sure they're not thrashing us. And I think as long as we do that, man, it's going to give us a great chance to win. So shall we get to our predictions? I'll go first because I feel like yours is going to be much more exciting
Again,
as it was last week. So I make these up on the fly for the most part, except last week I had to do that on the Cocaine Willie podcast. So give me 35 25 Buffs.
Okay. Give me, and again, I do think we're going to score a lot of points on them. I absolutely do think we are going to score a ton of points on them. I think the defense is going to be kind of in the bend but do not break mode. I think T-Mac, I think he does a decent game. I don't think you shut him down completely to where he does like 0 yards. I think he could go for like 120, 130 yards, but it won't affect the overall game. Okay. Just the one wide receiver is not going to help you. The reason why Travis is so effective is he dominates as a receiver, but he has other guys that can take away the coverage and the double teams and, can also put up yards. So it's not, it's spread across pretty evenly, and it can be. So my score for the game, I am going to go 42-31.
Okay.
42-31.
So you got 11-point victory. I got a 10-point victory.
Yep. We're right around the same victory wise. I just have more points because I think the offense is going to have a day.
What's the spread right now for this game?
We're not favored. Arizona is favored.
Man, for real?
That I don't get. That one is stupid. If you guys want free money, go Colorado for the spread. Go Colorado for the spread, please.
Man, that's funny. VH asking here too, do you guys think Stoutmire will play some this week? I mean, he did play some snaps last week. I wouldn't mind seeing him play more though. But I also want to see Shiloh bounce back. I think like taking what I want out of the game, out of the equation, I think we'll probably see the same playtime split with what we saw last week.
I think so. I think unless Shiloh gets hurt, I think it is going to be Shiloh and Cameron Silman-Craig. As much as you guys may not like that and not want to see it, I don't think there's going to be as many changes as you guys might want to see. I'm interested to see. Do you think we see any changes in the offensive line?
Nah, I don't think so. I think now if we have another rough day of running the ball, yeah, like that. Now you got 3 straight games where it's like, okay, or like 3.5 games, I guess. Cause we did sub out, man, I forget who all played in that Baylor game. So many people did, but I'm just interested to see what this line can do a third week playing together. And if you want to make some more changes after this, I'm totally fine. But let's see what they can do. Again, I think Kansas State had one of the best running defenses in the Big 12, if not the best. So not that excuses things, but if we can't get the job done against a statistically average, run defense in Arizona, yeah, you got to make some changes. But let's see what they can do. Yeah.
Do we want to go through some of the comments? There's a lot of stuff happening in
There was one. There was one that I highlighted. So let's start with that, and then we can end with all yours, Russ. I love this one. Eric Morris, long time friend of the show. David and Russ, based on what Travis Hunter told RG3, will people finally be quiet about Coach Prime leaving Colorado? Travis Hunter has no reason to lie. Thoughts on that, Russ?
I mean, we've talked about it we've beaten a dead horse on this podcast. We're not the ones that you need to convince. We have said from the get-go, Coach Prime's not going anywhere. There's a lot of reasons why. I can literally go down a list of reasons why. The only reason that anybody has for him leaving is because Shedeur, Travis, and Shiloh are leaving. That's the only reason people have for him going elsewhere.
Yeah.
As far as the reasons for him to stay, Coach Prime, he does not lie as well. He said when he was at Jackson State, if a Power 4 job opportunity comes, I'm going to take it. When he was asked when he got here, are you going to take another Power 4 job when it opens? He said, nope, I am here to build a legacy, and I believe it. They have upped recruiting tenfold in the last couple of weeks, and the class is growing. We just got another crystal ball for Baldwin, who's making his decision in a month. We had a number of guys this weekend who have talked about it, that they really liked what they saw. They really like what they, felt here in Colorado, and they feel like they can come in and make a difference right away because Coach Prime plays the best players, even if you're a freshman. I mean, every year a freshman is making a big difference on this team, so you can come in and perform. I could just keep going with the things. Now, Travis saying this about him not leaving, like, I'm telling you guys, he is not leaving, okay? He is not leaving once his kids leave. We can all relax. This is going to literally be the entire offseason is people saying every week, well, this is the week that Prime leaves. This is the week that Prime quits on you guys. Don't worry about it if you're a Colorado fan. Coach Prime's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I thought, earlier in the season, I think I was asked this too, and I'm like, well, if the season just ends up being a disaster, it's just like, well, I don't feel like he has a reason to, but to just stick around and coach, like, why? But yeah, he's doing a phenomenal job, and I don't think you want to just restart again somewhere else when you got to gut a program. Likely he would be taking over a program that would, if you were to take another job somewhere, it's another rebuild. Do you want to go through all of that? I've always felt that if Coach Prime comes back next year after his kids are off to the NFL, I think at minimum he serves out his 5-year contract here. So, and then after that, we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm more concerned with just enjoying the moment rather than, what happens, man. People get so caught up in all that stuff. But, man, this is truly a once-in-a-lifetime type of stuff. It's a lot of fun, man, to follow every single day. And it's just surreal, man. It is just still so surreal. Don't take it for granted. What's just going on right now?
Yep, 100%.
Did you have any other ones that you wanted to talk about?
I can't tell if Jimmy Wash is an Arizona fan with his different comments or what. Noah doesn't get sacked, but neither did Avery Johnson.
Oh, dude, Cardi Smith, I guess, got.
Did you see what they did to Juju?
No.
In the most recent rankings?
No,
he's dropped to like 115th recruit on like 24/7.
Let's go. We will never have a top 20 recruiting class. It just can't happen. Just won't happen.
We just got to penalize every person that, like, goodness, there's like multiple quarterbacks now ahead of him. In the rankings. It's ridiculous.
Oh man, that's too funny to me, man. That is just too funny. But I love it, Northside. Thanks at this point when our targets drop in rankings, that just makes me feel like we're doing something right. we're ruffling enough feathers somewhere in the recruiting world. I think that's so funny.
Yeah, it's so obvious. Like, it really truly is stupidly obvious at this point. Like, I don't know any other team that every single person tied to you gets dropped every time there's a new ranking that comes out. Like especially when they don't play. Like, obviously, yes, we're in season right now for these guys. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Dude, I love it so much. Yeah, but I guess yeah, I'll answer Jimmy's questions here. Shedeur has too much on his plate. Which high school quarterback wants that? Well, I think that there's a lot to attract really high level quarterbacks here. Again, a run game is important to the success right now of this team, but don't get it twisted, man. We have our best chance to win with putting the ball in Tu's hands. It's just making sure that he has enough help around him to truly hit his potential. But I think that there's a lot to like here with the weapons that we have, and with the defense taking a significant step this year. I think that it can take another really nice jump next year. And same with the offensive line. Again, we have a whole new starting offensive line this year, and the majority of those guys can come back next year. So I think we will have a lot of continuity to build on as well. But I think you got to love what's going on with the recruiting. And I do think that while Pat Shurmur, again, he's not the sexiest play caller offensive coordinator, what he is competent. And I do believe he gets guys prepared at an NFL level and for the NFL. And you can factor in all the other attention, the spotlight that's on, coming here, all that. But to me, it's more just looking at like what you can do on the field. It is very attractive in a conference in which I think it really does entice a lot of just an exciting brand of football.
We are this close, by the way, and I'm just gonna say it. Like, we are this close to being the dominant force in the Big 12 for years to come. Because when it comes to the other teams in the conference, we don't have anybody that screams out like, oh, we have miles and miles and miles worth of NIL to be able to buy players. Texas A&M's gone, Texas is gone, Oklahoma's gone. The teams that are left are not really those teams that are pushing for those top recruits each and every time. And it seems like we're one of the few that is always in conversation with the top recruits because of who Coach Prime is. Once those recruits start rolling in consistently year after year, we're going to be able to dominate the Big 12. And so long as it stays the format it is right now, Colorado has a very easy path to the playoffs each and every year when it comes to how we can build this team and how good we can become. Okay, I don't want anybody to take this as like I'm saying we're the best team in the Big 12 right this moment. I'm saying over the next couple years, it is super easy to see ourselves becoming that. And Paul has the great comment here as well, because the portal is where you get starting quarterbacks from. It's a one position that I think is easier to get out of the portal. And going back to what we just talked about, all the things you said, I think with portal quarterbacks, the spotlight's even more important because most of them are coming from, G5, G4 schools or, lower where they performed really well, but everybody probably said, but can they perform on a higher stage? Okay, I'm going to come to Colorado. I'm going to ball out. Oh, look, Shedeur Sanders just got drafted in the top 5 of the NFL draft. I can be that next person and put up the same stats with the spotlight on me. So I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, and to build on this, not only is it, Shedeur, and, we were asking those questions, just college football people in general, all throughout last offseason, before the 23 season, how good is Shedeur going to be making this jump, right? And he's done it. He's proven it that, hey, you can do it. And not only will that next quarterback see him go top 5, but also I really do think that there's a good chance, depending on how we finish off the year, where not only can you say, well, the quarterback went top 5, but it shows you that we can truly recruit weapons, because I think you could see a scenario not only with Travis Hunter being drafted, he's going to be drafted in the top 5 or whatever, but also Jimmy, Will Shepherd, and LeJontay Wester, all of them getting drafted. At the very least, they're all going to be in NFL training camps next year. And so it just shows that you got the ability to really bring in the weapons to do it. And we're at right now by having an FCS and HBCU quarterback, come up to, and it's not like Shedeur. I think he was a 4-star guy or like a highly rated 3-star guy coming out of high school.
Bama offer. He had Georgia offer.
But he wasn't somebody that I think like people were expecting at the Power 5 level at that time to just be a day one starter as a true freshman. He got that opportunity to do it at Jackson State, did very, very well. And so, again, you can have somebody that comes in as maybe not as a 5-star plus, perform very well. And Paul Simmons, he's an LSU fan. Another great, case study for this is Jane Daniels, man. I didn't think he was really anything to get that excited about from an NFL standpoint during his years at Arizona State, but you see there was enough there to get an offer from LSU. And then you see him just have 2 really, really good years. Of course, a fantastic year. And I think while I want Juju Lewis to be here, in terms of building, I think on top of this year and giving your team the best chance to win out the gate next year, it's probably with a transfer portal quarterback that has some snaps under his belt.
And there's going to be a lot of them, guys. Just keep your eyes open. We'll hear more and more as the season goes on of who it could possibly be. But there's definitely a number of guys that are going to be available. And I guarantee that we will be a top destination for portal quarterbacks if they want to come and ball out and get that opportunity. Those, like we've said every week, the Dylan Gabriels, the, Will Howard, the, McCord, all of these quarterbacks, Cam Ward, all of these quarterbacks that move to different programs. Yeah, they move to top programs in the country to go play. We're going to be in that slot. Hey, if we didn't have Shedeur, I could have easily seen Cam Ward come here. Like I could have seen him end up here if they still had that relationship. If Shedeur went to the NFL draft last year, who knows? Maybe Cam Ward's our quarterback. But the point is, those type of things are going to happen and they are going to be fine. So I'm not worried. I'm not panicked because of the quarterback situation. A lot of fans are like, we don't have a committed, freshman quarterback. We're screwed. We're going to have to go with Staub or, one of those quarterbacks. No.
Put in Staub. Just kidding.
Oh, but yeah, I'm excited for this weekend though.
I'll say this too, Russ. It's interesting that you brought all this up about all these other transfer portal quarterbacks. It's kind of funny. I got a lot of Sooner fan friends, right? But man, they got to be missing kind of shoving Dylan Gabriel out the door after last season. And although I was rooting very hard for Ohio State to get that win against Oregon last weekend, man, it just goes to show, like, even though Oregon was kind of slow coming out the gate, you got to give them credit for that win. And with them having 2 really good years with Dan Lanning there, bringing another transfer portal quarterback now that Bo Nix is with the Broncos, and they've been able to build on top of what they were able to do these last couple of years. And so that really does intrigue me. I think with a true freshman quarterback, you might have your ups and downs, but maybe you can get a little bit better of a play out the gate and truly build on a season like this. Bringing in that Tulane guy, I always forget his name, but he's quite intriguing.
Mensa, I think his last name starts with an M.
Mensa, yes.
The Tulane quarterback, maybe the Boston College. Honestly, I'd prefer the Tulane because he's more than a one and done guy. The Boston College guy is going to be a one and done, and Kevin, that guy is not even going to be in college football next year.
I would love it if we could turn Fowler Nicolosi into a Heisman finalist. Wouldn't that?
Could you imagine that? God, what? Would that do to CSU fans? What?
And we would only have to pay him $600,000. We probably only need to pay him $60,000 for him to come here, man.
Dave, no, you don't pay him anything. He comes here for free. He pays Coach Prime to come here. Okay. In the offseason, he's going to beg Coach Prime and he's going to say, Coach, please, I'll give you $20K of my massive salary if I can come to Colorado.
Yeah. Yeah, the transfer portal is going to be a lot of fun this year. And is it finalized, or is it just in the workings right now that they're trying to get rid of the spring portal period and it's
No,
just the
so the only
winter?
thing that they confirmed, they shortened the transfer portal days.
I can't keep up with the new rules.
Well, and the big one that everybody's got to be aware of, by the way, and I've talked about it before, the new rule about the national letter of intent is going to ruin high school recruiting this year. Just FYI, people, because what it does is the national letter of intent was a contract. Okay, it was, you sign that. The only way out of it was if the school allowed you to be out of it, right?
Right.
But now they're going the same route as the transfers, which is it's the financial aid scholarship agreement. Because, Dave, what do we know about that one? When does that become iron out that you are officially on the team? Not until the first day you're in class. So the
What a
NLI,
mess, man.
so signing day is going to mean nothing this year, by the way, guys. Signing day means nothing. When they put pen to paper like they do, that is not going to mean what it did in the last. We are going to see more DJ Lundy ideas where the guy signs for a couple of weeks and then changes his mind. Okay. So flip season is going to start here at the end of the season, and it's going to go until January when classes start. So hold on to your hats, because this isn't going to be a fun time. Hopefully in a good way for us. We're not going to have a DJ Lundy experience again. But if I'm some of the bigger teams, you got to be careful. You got to make sure that you give the people the money that they ask for, or, you know, the stuff that we saw with Jalen Rashada, that's going to happen more. And we're going to see it now, you know, even more, because they don't have to get out of that national letter of intent.
What a mess, man.
It
what
is.
A mess. The only constant in this sport is change. Crazy, man.
I hope one day we get to stability. We need contracts. We need a players union. We need all that stuff in order to like calm this down and allow us to actually root for players on our team. At this point, there's no reason to like get attached to a player, because they could be gone just like that. And so that sucks. It really does.
They need the jersey insurance that the NFL does. You know,
they're gonna have to get
jersey
that
guy gets traded, you know, you can exchange it for. That's what we need. That's what we need. But Russ, what a great show tonight. What a great show. Any last items as we wrap this up that you need to get off your chest that you forgot to bring up? Anything like that?
Well, my last comments for the show, Scott Proctor tweeted out something that is a reminder to everybody out there what we can expect this weekend. Arizona wide receiver Terrell McMillan said back in July about Travis Hunter, we are going to attack him. That's the matchup people want to see. Not only do I want to play against him, but the world wants to see it. We have to give the world what they want.
Way to sell a fight. I love it.
It's happening this Saturday. Watch the best corner against one of the best receivers in the country.
May the best player win. May the best team win. This is going to be a fun game, man. I think it's going to be a great game. Very entertaining. Well, Russ, I think that's a beautiful note to close on, man. As we do that, let the people know what you got coming up. When are we going to hear from you next?
Yeah, Sunday afternoons is when we go live to chat about the Saturday night game. So make sure you guys join up. Go check out my channel, subscribe. Continuing up the subscriber ladder with that. Watch the other content I've got over there. And as always, you know, the Wednesdays with us. Make sure you guys are coming back each and every Wednesday. We have a lot of fun here. So that's about it.
Dude, one of the funnest times of the week for sure. Thanks again, Russ. Yeah, y'all be sure go in and look for Buffs News Weekly in my description of the video. Go subscribe to Russ. His channel is booming, so let's continue to see it grow. Again, everybody, thank you so much for being a part of the chat. This is what makes these previews even that much more fun when you guys are involved. So please be sure to smash a like on the way out. And also, if you got time, Go follow my Facebook page in the description. I'm 2 away from 100, guys. I'm 2 away from 100, and then you won't hear me plug it ever again. I'll be live streaming on there, guys. So if you got a minute, please go like. I'm almost there. I'll be back after the game with Let's Talk Buffs on Saturday. Until then, guys, we'll see you later. Go Buffs.
Go Buffs.